कौस्तुभस्य तमें ततश्च विद्या अवाप्य विबुधोत्तमतां दधानं कुर्वे सदा हृदि गुरुं करुणाकराख्यं लक्ष्मीनाथ समारंभां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये मातापिता योतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्मयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसार कुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणु परकाल यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम् श्रीमान् वेङ्कटनाथार्यः कवितार्किककेसरी वेदान्ताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि। In the previous lecture, we saw about some questions. Should the Jivatma always live in inferiority complex? As in, should we always keep on feeling, oh, I'm inferior to him, I'm inferior to him? We addressed that. Secondly, is there any improvement at all for the Jiva? If you're saying that the original state of the Jiva itself is pure, is there any improvement at all? We addressed those two questions. Today, we will address the remaining two questions. The first one, how to avoid problems faced by the Alvar? How to avoid problems like the problems faced by the Alvar? The original question was, the great Alvar, literally a Nityasuri, literally the Vanamala of Bhagavan, gets born on earth, takes the name Bhaktangri Renu, this Tondaradipudi Alvar. If such a saintly divine being is itself not immune to problems of samsara, how can we ever be immune? That is the question. How do we address this question? Secondly, is there a solution given by the Alvar himself? How do we avoid problems the way Alvar avoided problems? Maybe we could see it in that way, although the question was not asked in that way. So let us look at it. Firstly, where is the issue? They say this is an argument presented by a lot of people. Even Bhagavan, when he is born on earth, he has to undergo suffering. When he came as Rama, he had to suffer so much. The kingdom was snatched away from him unfairly. He was sent to the forest. His wife was kidnapped. And when he finally won the war to receive her back, she was accused of not being proper. When after all of that, he brought her back and stayed in Ayodhya, again, these kinds of statements were all being made. Eventually, when he sent her to Valmiki's ashrama, again people started blaming him. Those who were blaming her, they stopped blaming Sita. They started blaming Rama. Oh, look at Rama. Today, what are they saying? Oh, what kind of husband was he? He sent his wife away. Lava and Kusha themselves, as per Uttarakanda, they thought there are certain mistakes that have been made. Maybe there have been certain mistakes that have been made by Rama. They thought so. 3 accusations they made. How could Rama lift the weapon on a woman? How could Rama do this? How could Rama do that? Of course, those questions were answered. But right now, the focus is not about the character of Rama. We know it is perfect. But about the fact that no matter who you are, That is, Sakshat Bhagavan himself came as Rama. Bhagavan himself came as Rama. And no matter how you live life, Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma, he is the very embodiment of Dharma. Despite all of that, there is accusation on Rama. And it is not just about accusation, the life is also not good. So that the life experience is also not good. The uh, people, the people's attitude, that is also not so good. What should you do then? Is this how the world is going to be? Is samsara so full of miseries that no matter who you are, you have to suffer? Is this a world of suffering? Well, the Alvars have written that the world is full of suffering and that this is the universe of suffering and so on. But when the Alvars wrote it in that way, what did they mean by suffering? Separation from Bhagavan itself is what they called as suffering, not any other kind. That has to be understood. The first and foremost thing that we should understand while answering this question is that the greatest suffering is the suffering of separation from Bhagavan. For this reason, Swami Deshika, he says, staying in samsara, thinking that we are our own and that we are not Bhagavans, that we have nothing to do with Paramatma, we have nothing to do with him. Thinking that we are the owners, taking ownership, claiming ownership by ourselves. That is the biggest sin. Guess what? Everybody has done it. The feeling, ahankara, right? This is me. I am doing this. Instead of thinking that this is Bhagavan's property, Bhagavan's Sharira, Bhagavan's Dasa, Bhagavan's Amsha, whatever, all of that. In that way, we have all committed the sin, says Deshika. Why does he call it a sin? Because that is the sin that takes us away from Bhagavan, that keeps us away from Bhagavan. And when we are away from Bhagavan, whatever we feel, maybe we feel pleasure, maybe we feel pain, but that pleasure is also a form of suffering. It is just that we don't understand it. How could there be a form of suffering that is not understood? If I don't feel any pain, can you call it pain? Such a question might be put forth. The answer is that if you take a sick person lying in bed all the time, that person is sick. The person being injected with heavy doses of sedatives and therefore sleeping, you are not going to say that the person is completely at peace or completely normal. That is a patient literally in the hospital bed. So they are suffering. That suffering is visible everywhere. Although they might not feel it themselves, or imagine you're in a state of coma. You don't feel anything, but you are actually suffering, right? Because you're unable to do anything. If your existence is as good as non-existence, that is the worst form of suffering. Or let us take the example of people who are suffering without knowing that they are suffering. One more example, mad people, people who have lost their senses. They are suffering. They don't know what they are doing. Some mad people who are laughing, jumping, running about. How would you describe their feelings? They might not necessarily feel pain, but they are suffering. So, from these examples, it is clear that it is not necessary for us to feel suffering if we are suffering. It is not necessary for us to feel pain if we are suffering. Even without actually feeling physical pain or mental pain, we might actually be suffering. Taken in that sense, separation from Bhagavan itself is a form of suffering. But if it is a suffering, suffering is what? Papa karma phala. So if suffering is papa karma phala, then what is the papa karma for which we got this phala? Such a question will arise, no? For that, the answer is provided by Swami Deshika. He says, you claiming ownership of yourself, you forgetting who you are, the real nature of the jiva, forgetting that is the reason, that is the sin. That is the sin which is keeping you away from Bhagavan. So that is the papa, this is the papa karma phala. Now, if this much is understood, we can go straight to the answer. Rama himself suffered. People kept questioning him. Swami Deshika says in Subhashita Nivi, yes, even the greatest Rama was questioned. What is the guarantee that you are not going to be questioned? He teaches us that no matter who you are, there will always be some people who are speaking ill of you, who are speaking lies about you. No matter what good you do, some people would always be there saying wrong things about you. Yesterday, I was scrolling through YouTube. I happened to see a video of this Jaggi Vasudev, Sadguru. It was some short, I think, and he talks about Krishna. He says, so many thousands of years after Krishna lived, when the scripture directly says that Krishna is Bhagavan, you are celebrating him. But back then, if you had stayed there to judge Krishna, what would you have said? You would have said he is a deceiver, like what Duryodhana said. He is a master deceiver. He is running after women. He is doing this, he is doing that. Jaggi mentions Duryodhana there. We know from the story that plenty of people accused Krishna in that way. Did Shishupala not accuse, for example? So, Krishna was accused as being a womanizer, a trickster, a fraud, and so on. He was also given lots and lots of accuses. But what did Krishna do? He ignored all of that and moved on. He ignored all of that. Only in the case of Shishupala, he responded. That too because he was already supposed to kill Shishupala. But because Shishupala's mother had taken a boon from him, he said, okay, I will wait for Shishupala to commit 100 crimes against me. After that, I will take action. So, Krishna ignored and moved on. Let them say whatever they want. That is not going to change the fact. Oh no, they are saying this about me. Let me start crying. Did he ever go to Balarama and cry? Oh brother, look at what people are saying. I have saved 16,000 women, yet people are saying that I'm a womanizer. He never did that. Of course, he is Bhagavan. Why will he do it? There is no need to ask that way. Even as humans, we can understand that we can ignore such insults and move. In the case of Rama, his own prajas were raising questions on Sita. His own citizens were raising questions. Therefore, he was forced to take action. In Yuddhakanda, it is not Rama who sent Sita to the fire. That is not how Valmiki has described. But in Uttarakanda, which all our traditional Vaidika sampradayas have acknowledged to be authentic, in Uttarakanda, we see Sita getting separated from Rama because of continuous accusations, even after she goes to Ayodhya. There, one's own prajas, if they are discontent and they do not have faith in Sita, and due to their lack of faith in Sita, their faith in Rama has decreased. If the kingdom is existing where the subjects do not have faith in their king and queen, that kingdom will not be able to prosper. That kingdom will move towards the sake of the kingdom. Rama had, but points of time when people spoke about Rama, did he bother? Kaikeyi's maid spoke ill about Rama. Kaikeyi herself believed in those words. She does imply those things to Dasharatha when she speaks. Dasharatha tries to reason with her, he fails. Rama could have retaliated, he did not retaliate. Rama could have spoken back, he did not speak. Rama could have taken the throne, he did not take. How many opportunities he got? Dasharatha thought, will Rama not come and take over the throne? But Rama did not. Dasharatha thought, will Rama not, for once, will he forget about protecting my words and take over the kingdom? It did not happen. Lakshmana said, you give me the order, I will go straight. Whoever opposes you, I will kill them. I will make you sit on the throne. Who is there to oppose you? Let me see. It was well known that the entirety of Ayodhya also wanted Rama to ascend the throne. The entire city of Ayodhya went into depression after Rama went into the forest. Rama goes to the forest, Ayodhya Vasis go to depression. That is how Valmiki has described. Rama could have easily taken it back, even without the help of Lakshmana or the help of the Ayodhya Vasis. He could have still taken. Rama tells Lakshmana, oh Lakshmana, in Ayodhya Kanda, Rama says, I could have taken Ayodhya if I had wanted to, but I have intentionally abstained from doing so. So what do we learn there? There are a few things that we learn. Firstly, what people speak about you. In the case of Krishna, people spoke ill of Krishna. In the case of Rama, people said, no, no, Rama has to take the throne. Rama has to take the throne. Bharata literally comes to Rama, begs him, please come back to Ayodhya. But Rama does not. No matter what people say, you have to be in the path of dharma. If people say bad about you, you need not get triggered. If people praise you a lot and say, oh, only you can save us, please come and become the king of Ayodhya, then also it does not mean that you should go and become the king of Ayodhya. Remember this, it works both ways. If people are accusing or cursing, that does not mean you should fall for it. If people are praising and giving you something also, if they are asking you to take over something also, then also you need not go ahead and accept. When do you accept? When do you act? When whatever you do is for dharma. Rama was dharmagnya. He knew about dharma. He knew about all the intricacies of dharma, not just samanya dharma, but vishesha dharma. He knew everything. He knew how to behave when. And therefore, he always behaved perfectly. Now, if you don't have a rule book with you, if you don't have a handbook, how should I behave when I face such and such a situation? Let me turn page number 461. We don't have such books with us, but we have our minds. Using our minds, we should ask ourselves, will this lead to dharma or not? That is what matters. Don't think about anything else. Think only about dharma. Do not think about how you are going to live your life, what is going to happen to you, what is going to happen. Don't think about any of that. No matter what happens to you. Is dharma being protected? Think only about that. That is the solution. Now, is this the solution that was followed by the Alvar. What happened in the life of the Alvar? The Alvar fell for the girl, right? At the end of the day. How do you explain that? We say, no, that is a Leela done by Bhagavan to show us that even if we forget the path and go elsewhere, Bhagavan himself will come and pull us back. Okay. About the Alvar, you are saying it is Leela. What about Rama's life? Whatever happened in Rama's life should not be discarded as Leela. Because he came here to set an example. We call him Maryada Purushottama, right? He came to set an example of how the Uttama Lakshana of a Manushya should be. He has come and done that. We keep citing, we say Rama lived in this way, Rama said this, Rama said that. Whatever Rama says is dharma, whatever Rama does is dharma. Then you tell me, did Rama suffer or not? Whether or not you feel pain, so if we argue by saying, although Rama went to the forest, he did not think of it as a big deal. The Purva Paksha would say, you just said some time back that whether or not you feel pain, it could still be called suffering. The mad person or the person hospitalized, these people are suffering, whether or not they are feeling pain. Likewise, Rama might not have felt any pain while in the forest, but definitely he has also suffered, no? In this way, the question would come. How are we to understand and answer that? We should here understand that life will always come with pleasures and pains. Life will always come with pleasures and pains. But the pleasures and pains that we get in life, they are not instant results of what we do. They are delayed results of what we had done in the past. What we had done in the past, remember the theory of karma, we said there is past karma. That past karma, a random portion of that past karma for which you have not yet got karma phala, right? Karma which has not yet been burned. That from that past karma, a random portion gets selected. That is what we call prarabdha karma. The karma that has started giving results from the time of your birth, where you are born, how you are born, how you grow up, all the situations that are not in your control, all the things in your life that are not in your control. Prarabdha karma is responsible for all of that. So, if I am suffering today, the reason for that is my prarabdha karma. If I am enjoying today, the reason for that is my prarabdha karma. We have to understand this. Does every karma always get delayed and come only at a later point of time? No, not necessarily. A person doing tapasya, for example, he gets darshana of that devata. Let us say you do tapasya towards Brahma. Brahma will come towards you. Is there any shastra that says that no, the tapasya that you do in this life, from the prarabdha karma of this tapasya in your next life, Brahma will come? Not like that. Karma phala can come in the same life as well. Sometimes it could come instantly as well, but it does not always come that way. Most of the karma phala that is experienced by a person during their lifetime is the phala of karma that was done in the distant past, in some previous life. And therefore, we have to understand that Rama did not suffer because he was good. The narrative set by the Purva Pakshi is that Rama suffered because he was good. That is not so. Rama did not suffer because he was good. Oh, they might argue, oh boy, he could have taken over Ayodhya. If he had taken over Ayodhya, he wouldn't have suffered. How do they know? Maybe if he had taken over Ayodhya, some other problem would have come up. He went to the forest, therefore certain problems came. Therefore, Kara Doshana came, Sita got abducted and everything. If he had stayed in Ayodhya, some other problem might have come. Who knows? So, problem, if it is there in your karma, it has to come. Of course, Rama was never bound by karma. Bhagavan is never bound by karma. We have to be clear in that aspect first. If we say, oh, Bhagavan himself suffered during his avatar as Krishna, look, even though he came as Krishna, he was born in prison. Even though he came as Rama, he was suffering in the forest. No, no, no. Bhagavan is not bound by karma. Even when he comes here, he is not bound. He pretends to be bound so that we learn a lesson. So Bhagavan never gets bound, but we are taking the example of Rama because it is supposed to be an example for us. So what happens in the example of Rama? We are saying that his suffering, whatever you are calling as suffering, staying in the forest, getting separated from Sita and all of that, it was not because of his being good. Rama himself tells Lakshmana, whatever I do, O Lakshmana, it is not for now, it is for Paraloka, it is for the next Loka. Therefore, telling us that whatever we do in our lives should not be done for immediate benefit. It should be planned and done for the long-lasting future benefit. So we should have a long-term vision. Rama lived with that long-term vision. And he explicitly told Lakshmana that he is living with that long-term vision. We should also be living with that long-term vision. Okay, but he got the forest only because he did not accept Ayodhya, right? What is the big deal? People who ask in this way, they forget that even if he had taken Ayodhya, some other problem might have come up. He chose one path, some kind of suffering came in some way. If he had taken some other path, suffering would have come in some other way. Whatever you have to experience, you have to experience. You cannot escape from your past karma by the choices that you make in life. I went by bus. There was so much traffic in the road. Therefore, I got delayed. If I had gone by train, there would have been no problem. I might think that way today. Tomorrow, if I take the train, it might so happen that the train gets delayed, but on the road there is no traffic. Then what? If it is there in your prarabdha karma that you have to suffer, you are going to suffer. Rama, whose life was a simulation of a human life, in that life, Rama showed that there will be points where you have to suffer, but no matter what, you have to move on. You have to focus your reaction, anger, or whatever you call it. It has to be channelized properly so that the result is dharmic and productive. It should be productively dharmic. Plenty of people get blind in anger or they get blind in sadness, depression. That should never happen. That is the teaching of Ramayana. So you cannot really avoid problems because whatever problem you are going to get in life, you are going to get because of the past sins that you have committed. You might be able to minimize them through bhakti, this, that, you go to temple, do this, do that, you take a dip in the Ganga. All of that will minimize your problems in life, but you will not run out of problems. You will run out of problems only when you get moksha. But when you are not having a problem, what should you do? You should do bhakti. You should behave properly. You should behave like a Bhagavata. When the problems are coming, you should still not change. Oh, the Alvar changed. Alvar changing was a Leela. That does not mean you should change. If you have the ability to remain that way, then you should remain that way. There are plenty of other Alvars who did not have this problem. No, take it that way. So we should know which example to use where. We cannot cite Ramayana out of the blue and say Rama also suffered. What is the point of being good? Alvar also suffered. What is the point of being a bhakta? These kinds of questions become nonsensical. The bhakti that was shown by the Alvar before he got enchanted by the lady, that protected him in future. Why did Bhagavan come and pretend to be his servant and everything? Would Bhagavan have done that if in the past the Alvar had not had any kind of bhakti? That would have never happened, no? So Bhagavan becomes his dasa's dasa when Bhagavan's dasa behaves like Bhagavan's dasa. Simple. When his dasa behaves like his dasa, when you behave like who you are, then he will come even to serve you. When you behave like who you are not, when you behave with ahankara and mamakara, then Bhagavan will not come. So, yes, problems will come. The problem that came to the Alvar was so much that he forgot Bhagavan itself. But Bhagavan still came. Why? Because when he was able, sthite manasi susvasthe, sthite manasi susvasthe sharire, as it is said in Varaha Purana. When your mind is fine, when your body is fine, in that kind of a condition, if you are going to contemplate on Bhagavan, then what did Bhagavan say? We have seen that shloka 100 times. Tatastham mriyamanam tu kashtapashana sannibham aham smarami madbhaktam nayami paramam gatim. I remember my bhakta and grant the paramagati, that is moksha. Bhagavan has said that. So the game that we play should not be for the short term. Oh, I am getting suffering. Let me just try to get out of this. Let me try to get out of this. No. Maybe if you endure this suffering now and continue in the path of dharma and bhakti and so on, and sharanagati, you would get moksha. You would be able to permanently solve it. It is just like how in school we say, oh, this subject is so tough. I have seen many people say, mathematics is so tough. I don't know if I'm going to pass. Should I even study? Well, you have to study. You clear this exam once. In your life in future, nobody is going to ask you differentiation and integration. But these 2 years, if you study, and if you ensure that you're at least able to pass, you will be able to live a life where you don't need mathematics at all. But if you don't study, and if you fail, what will happen? You will have to live with integration again. You failed the exam, then you have to retake the exam. You will again have to study. So, similar to what we tell school students, we have to understand that this samsara is also like a school for us. And we are all like students. We are students. We should understand that we are students. We should learn and we should act appropriately. So, this samsara should be seen like a school for us. It is there to teach us. Why? Why should we be taught? Because we don't know anything. If we had known everything, we would have already got moksha. We did not know how to get moksha. We were unable to get moksha. Therefore, we have been given this birth to try again. When we are trying again, how do you try? By learning. So, you are getting education, you are getting dharmic education, correct? So, when we say Guru Parishad Upajñam Prapya Gopayate Swa, Guru Parishad, what do you get through that Guru Parishad? You get education. So we are all like students. The samsara is like a school. We have to endure the difficulties of the subjects. So, and if we pass this samsara, we will not have to come here again. Once you pass school, are you going to have to write school exams again? No. That's all. In the same way. Or once you pass college, do you have to go give the college exams again? No, that never happens. No. Unless you join another college. So there are different ways. Some people are smart. After they finish the degree, they get such a good job in their lives that their lives are settled. Some people are not smart enough. They cannot get such a great job. What do? They go to do masters, then they go to do PhD. All of that is done. Eventually, they also try to get good job. We should be smart, right? We should immediately try to get moksha. That is permanent settlement. if we are not trying that. If we try for something better, oh, right now I don't think I can try for moksha, but I can try for swarga, then I will get only swarga. Then from there, I will again have to think about advancing towards moksha. So we should try to be smart. And like the smart people who do not spend their entire lives studying, who at some point of time get out and start living their lives and get all the income in the world, we should also get. All the sukha is waiting for us. All the ananda is waiting for us. It is all waiting for us. Bhagavan is waiting to give us all of that. We are only not taking the effort. When we understand that, and when we understand the nature of that ananda, that it is not parimita, that it is infinite, it is not bounded, it is not limited, it is not limited by time or by magnitude. When we understand that, we would think these problems are nothing. Like how they say, the school life is nothing. How old are you? My mother used to ask, how old are you? 14. But do you know how old I am? I am more than twice your age. I don't know. I hope she was. Obviously, she was. So she said, you have not seen life yet. You are facing such small problems and you are worrying about them. Get out of your problem. You bear your problem, you will get out of it. Then there is lots more to see. In the same way, we can get out of the problem of samsara. And there is lots more to see. There are lots more to see when we get moksha. If we have that kind of an approach, we might not be able to avoid incoming problems at present, but we would be able to avoid every single problem that could come in the future permanently. And of course, for that, we have to be students. For that, we have to go to the Guru. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, Tasmat Gurum Prapadyeta Jignasu Shreya Uttamam Shabde Pare Chadishnatam Brahman Yupashamashrayam. Therefore, the Jignasu, the curious one, he has to go and surrender to the Guru. Gurum Prapadyeta. He has to go and surrender to the Guru. And he has to do seva to the Guru. We have seen these before, right? Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Same thing. Here in Bhagavatam it is said. So, this, as it is said in the scripture, like how it is said in Bhagavad Gita and the Veda, it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam also. We need to get Guru. We need to get Acharya. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. That Acharya is only going to give us the knowledge and the ability, more than the knowledge, the ability to go and attain moksha. How are we going to get it by ourselves? We don't have the ability. It is Bhagavan who takes us. But when will Bhagavan take us? When we go through a strong recommendation, when we go through a strong route that we know that this will definitely work. When we go through the Sadacharyas, it will work. So we have to get Acharya Sambandha. There comes the next question. Okay, how do I get Acharya Sambandha? How do I get Acharya Sambandha? We have to see this. Some people said, you look around, whoever you can follow, you follow. As long as it works. You know, there are some people who say, you follow any guru. As long as it works, you follow that guru. If it stops working, you stop following that guru. Go to some other guru. There is a problem with this approach. There is a fundamental problem with this approach. Firstly, whatever recommendation is being said thus, that is exactly what the majority of the world is already following. Why are Christians following Christian gurus? Why are Muslims following Muslim gurus? Why is each person following the guru of his or her preference? Anybody would do that, right? You would follow. Eventually, when you find out that this person is a fraud, then you will go to an authentic person. If you find out that this person is not teaching in an authentic way, eventually you would change. Right? Yadava Prakasha was making mistakes. Bhagavad Ramanuja, eventually the situation became that he takes another guru. But is that the correct approach? We are not questioning Bhagavad Ramanuja here. We are questioning about the preference. Oh, go follow whoever you like. Bhagavad Ramanuja did not go to Yadava Prakasha because he liked Yadava Prakasha. That was not the case, right? There is a different reason why he went. So the recommendation that is given here, saying you follow any guru you like as long as it works. How do you know whether it works? Will you ever know during your lifetime whether you are going closer towards Bhagavan or whether you are moving away? Until you get moksha, you are not going to see any guarantee of moksha. Only in the rarest of the rare cases, through pratyaksha jnana, you can infer that you are going to attain moksha. Bhagavan himself comes and says, I will give you moksha. Bhagavan himself comes and tells somebody else, I will give this person moksha as that person has done Sharanagati to you and you have done Sharanagati to me. How many times does that happen? Seldom happens, right? So, there is no way to verify. If you just go behind any person, it is not going to work. You have to choose appropriately. You have to inculcate Shishya Lakshana inside of yourself. And then Shishya Lakshana we have discussed before. Acharya Lakshana also we have discussed before. So you should inculcate Shishya Lakshana into yourself and then approach a Sadacharya. Siddham Sat Sampradaye Sthiradhyam Anagham Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham, that kind. But some people said, okay, you search all you want for an Acharya, but do you know, Acharya is not somebody who can be attained by seeking. Acharya is one who automatically comes to you. When the time is right, you will automatically get Acharya Sambandha. Take Bhagavad Ramanuja's life itself. He was living. He studied under Yadava Prakasha. After some time, he stopped. He had to stop. Yadava Prakasha was not willing to teach him. But you know what happened? This Periyanambi, he himself came. Yamunacharya, the great Alavandar, he sent his Shishya to bring Bhagavad Ramanuja. So we can learn that when the time is right, Acharya will automatically come to you. Well, guess what? When the time is right, Acharya will come to you. When the time is right, Moksha will come to you. When the time is right, Bhagavan himself will come to you. When the time is right, Aishwarya will come to you. The statement is not wrong. But if we are going to use that statement as an excuse, it is going to cause problem after problem. When the time is right, I will get wealth, correct? How does karma phala come? It is decided that at this point of time, I should get some wealth. When the time is right, I will get wealth, correct? When the time is right, I will get moksha also. Bhagavan knows when to give moksha. He will give moksha at the right time. So can I keep waiting? Oh, moksha will come to me by itself. When the time is right, I will get moksha. Can I do whatever I like, thinking moksha will come when the time is right? I can't, right? If I cannot stay doing nothing, ignoring the things that need to be done to get moksha, if I cannot live life that way, if I cannot say moksha will come to me at the correct time, therefore let me just be myself. If we know that that is wrong, then we should also know that people who are responsible for helping us to attain moksha, those gurus and acharyas who are responsible for helping us to attain moksha, those people should also be sought. We cannot stay lazy. I cannot stay lazy saying moksha will come to me by itself. Likewise, I should not stay lazy saying guru or acharya will come to me by himself. I should understand that there is an effort involved there as well. I have to take the effort. The farmer plants the seed. Whether it is going to give the final crop and give him profit or not, he doesn't know. But he still has to plant the seed and water it and take care of it every day. That is how we should be. We should still do our duty. We do not know the result. Karmani eva adhikaraha. Correct? Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. That is a very famous statement from the Gita. So, we should understand that it is not the phala over which we have adhikara. I do not have adhikara over the phala of acharya prapti. And therefore, what do I do have adhikara over? Karma. That karma I have to do. I have to do the necessary karma that will ensure that I get acharya sambandha. Yes, acharya prapti happens only when the time is ripe. But how does the time become ripe? If I keep behaving like an asura or a rakshasa, will the time ever become ripe? It will never become ripe. Such a person will only go further and further away from Bhagavan. So, what makes the acharya prapti happen? What goes behind it? What is it that brings acharya sambandha? That has to be looked at. This is very simple. ईश्वरस्य च सौहार्दं यदृच्छा सुकृतं तथा विष्णोः कटाक्षमद्वेषम् आभिमुख्यं च सात्विकैः सम्भाषणं षडेतानि ह्याचार्य प्राप्ति हेतवः ईश्वरस्य च सौहार्दम्. It is not by our own desire that we get moksha. Likewise, it is not by our own desire that we get sadacharya. For us to get sadacharya, we need the sauharda of Ishvara. Ishvara is Bhagavan. Bhagavan should be pleased. When Bhagavan is pleased, he will give us. Oh, that is the same thing. No, Bhagavan will only give us acharya. So why should we care? Let us do whatever we want. Let Bhagavan, whenever he wants, let us give. Let him send the acharya. No. When does that Ishwarasya sauhardam happen? That happens when you behave in a way that pleases Bhagavan. Ishwarasya cha sauhardam yadricha sukritam tatha. Remember what we said about the king's son who gets brought up in the forest. Eventually, by chance, unknowingly, he does something. He does something good. What does he do? He interacts with people from the city. Those are great saints. They tell him, oh, we know you. You are the son of this king. Correct? We saw that in the shloka as well. Manivarai Vashaure Nitya Hridyopi Jivaha Kalushamatiravindan Kinkaratwadi Rajyam Vidhi Parinati Bhedat Vikshitastena Kale Guru Parishadupagnyam Prapya Gopayati Swa. That same thing. In the same Upodhata Adhikara, Swami Deshika, in the same Adhikara, where he had cited this shloka, Manivara Iva Shaurehe. Towards the end of that Adhikara, in Rahasya Trayasara, when the Deshika, who had composed the shloka Manivara Iva Shaurehe, he cites the scripture while explaining it. In the citation, we see this Ishvarasya cha sauhardam yadricha sukrutam tatha Vishnoh kataksham advesham abhimukyam cha satvikaihi sambhashanam shadetani hi acharya prapti hetavaha. So Ishvarasya sauhardam, we have seen that yadricha sukrutam, by chance, some good thing that you did in the past, it creates an opening for you. Whatever I'm doing right now might not be the best. It might not be appropriate for me to help me get acharya prapti. But some good thing by chance I might have done, because of which this is going to get possible. That is yadricha sukrutam. But that yadricha sukrutam also will come only if you have the kataksha of Bhagavan. So, Vishnoho kataksham. What is this kataksha of Bhagavan? How is this different from Ishvarasya sauhardam? You have to behave in a way that pleases Bhagavan, yes. But when we say Vishnoho kataksham, we are referring to Jayamana kataksha. What is this Jayamana kataksha? Remember, we cited long back, Jayamanami Purusham Yampashyen Madhusudanaha Satvikas Satu Vigneyaha Savai Mokshartha Chintakaha. That person who is blessed by Vishnu at the time of birth, such a person becomes Satvika. Such a person tries to learn the scripture and the philosophy, the Vedanta. He becomes knowledgeable in Vedanta. He becomes Vijnaya. And one who becomes knowledgeable in the topics of Vedanta, what does that person do? Savai moksha artha chintakaha. That person thinks about moksha and eventually attains moksha. Correct? So, that Jayamana Kataksha should be there. How does that Jayamana Kataksha come? It comes through Prarabdha Karma. So, Ishvarasya Sauharda, Ishvara Sauharda is differentiated from Vishnu Kataksha in this way. Ishvara Sauharda is something that you can try to get in this life. But Vishnu Kataksha that is referred to in the shloka, it is Jayamana Kataksha. Your Prarabdha Karma should have it. Advesham. What is Advesha? Advesha is the opposite of Dvesha. Okay, what is the big deal? What kind of Dvesha should I not have? I should not have Dvesha towards Vishnu. I should not have Dvesha towards Vaishnavas. I should not have Dvesha towards Bhagavatas. If I have Dvesha towards Vishnu, naturally, Vishnu Kataksha is not going to help me. That hatred has to end. If I have Dvesha towards Bhagavatas, I will commit Bhagavatapachara. Then even if I surrender, that surrender will get cancelled. So I should have Advesha. The absence of Dvesha Bhava, the absence of hatred towards Vishnu and Vishnu Bhaktas and Bhagavatas. Good people. Absence of hatred against Sattvikas. Take it that way. Now, Advesham, what is said? Ishvarasya cha sauhardam yadricha sukrutam tatha Vishnoho kataksham advesham abhimukyam cha satvikaihi sambhashanam. So, what is said next is abhimukyam. What is abhimukyam? In the next class, I will share these in the slide and summarize as well. Unfortunately, I did not remember to type this and share the individual meanings. But let us try to understand. Abhimukhya means having interest in sattvic topics, in sad vishayas. Advesha means you do not oppose good people. Abhimukhya means you are attracted by good topics, sadvishaya, topics pertaining to Bhagavan, sattvic topics, like Srimad Bhagavatam. Somebody is teaching Srimad Bhagavatam. What do? You go there and listen and learn. Okay, is that enough? Now there are plenty of people. They say, I don't know whether I have Vishnu Kataksha. I don't know whether there is Ishvara Sauharda. I don't know if I have Yadricha Sukruta. All of those things cannot be verified. But I have Abhimukhya. I always go. Whenever there is some pravachana, I always go to listen. I always try to learn. I keep opening the book and learning. Isn't that enough? Isn't that good enough? There is one more thing that is necessary. That last thing is Satvikaihi Sambhashanam. You should have appropriate conversations, Sambhashana, with Sattvikas. That is, you should have discussions on the Sadvishayas that you are learning with Sattvikas, or not necessarily something that you have learned, maybe something that they have learned, or not necessarily something theoretical, something about Bhagavan. Satvikaihi Sambhashanam. Maybe not about Bhagavan, maybe about Bhagavatas. Doesn't matter. Some kind of Sambhashana you are having with Satvik people. Satvikaihi Sambhashanam. This is the sixth one. Let us summarize very quickly. What goes behind us getting Acharya Sambandha? First is Ishvara Sauharda. You have to make sure that Bhagavan is happy. Okay, let us say that is done. Then yadriksha sukrutam. That means by chance we should have done something good that is going to come and help us. Correct? Some karma should be there to give us that good karma phala right now in the form of Acharya Prapti. For that, that route should be open. That karma should be there. Then there is Vishnu Kataksha. Vishnu Kataksha is Jayamana Kataksha, as we talked about it. The Kataksha that people get during the birth itself. Then Advesha. Advesha is what? Advesham is what? Dveshasya abhavaha. You should not have dvesha towards Bhagavan or Bhagavatas. Then you should have abhimukhyam. Abhimukhyam is what? You having interest in sad vishayas, taking your thoughts, words, and actions towards sad vishayas. And finally, you have satvikaihi sambhashanam, interacting frequently with people who have sattva guna. In Ramayana, it is said, Shila vruddhaihi, jnana vruddhaihi, vayo vruddhaishcha sajjanaihi. Bhagavan, Shri Rama, back when he was in Ayodhya, what would he do? He would speak to the skilled people. He would speak to the knowledgeable people. He would speak to the experienced old people. All which kind of people? Sajjanaihi, with the Satvikas. Rama would go and have Sambhashana with the Satvikas, all kinds of Satvikas. That is what Valmiki is trying to explain to us. Rama would have Sambhashana with Satvikas all the time. Valmiki says, even during the small intervals that he takes between archery lessons, he will be practicing archery. He will be practicing archery during the break time. That time also he will go and he will start interacting with Satvik people. As much as possible, have Sambhashana with Satvikas. Having Satvika Sambhashana, that will help you to reinforce your dharmic behavior. Dharmic thoughts, dharmic behavior, they get reinforced when you interact with Satvik people. When you do not interact with Satvik people, what happens? You might learn all the scripture, but you might not be able to follow properly. You might be the master of all scriptures, but you might somehow go away from dharma. The more you interact, the more you see people who are already dharmic, they will inspire you to be more and more dharmic. If not as an inspiration, at least by creating a fear. Oh no, what if I do something wrong? How will they look at me? I will not be able to go near them. I will not be able to go to, at least out of that fear, if we are able to change, that is also a good thing. So, Ishwarasya Sauharda, Yadricha Sukrita, Vishnu Kataksha, Advesha, Abhimukya, and Satvika Sambhashana. These six, Shadetani, he Acharya Prapti Hetavaha. These six are what are the causes of attaining an Acharya. So with that, we will conclude today's class. If there is any question, please feel free to ask.
No questions. It was very, very useful as usual, like in every session. Lot of clarity comes, but I don't know how much we'll remember and we have to keep making effort.
I believe the recordings are uploaded on YouTube, so you can always watch.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for attending. If anybody else has any question, please feel free to ask. If not, we will conclude. Thank you for attending.